The smell of fresh sheets caught your senses while you turned in bed, feeling the crisp linen against your body and legs. Yet you still felt the aches across the square of your back and the burn in your limbs. Last night was a rough night, groaning in bed while you stared at the ceiling, spotting the sunlight light up the room from the large windows of the bedroom. You pushed yourself from the bed, spotting the few bruises that have finally surfaced along your body. A deep exhale escaped from your lips, finally accustoming yourself to the sores. It had been a while since you've been on the job, no longer an office junkie, but as part of the witness protection program, your skills had become an asset to the commission, in more ways than one. Breakfast wafted through the air before you heard the clang of utensils from outside the room. Gingerly pulling yourself from the bed, you slid off and pulled on a robe left hanging by the door. Despite the dull pain, you smiled at the afterthought. He had always been thoughtful, in his own little way. Opening up to the studio apartment, you spotted him by the open kitchen, cooking up a storm. Keigo Takami surprised you in this way, how he was a decent cook despite the work he had originally been doing years ago. It was still surreal to not see his wings anymore, just a bare back, and yet he still persisted to keep it open. You watched the scars stretch with every movement he made before he glanced an eye towards you, heading for the couch.
"Hey, you're up,"
he spoke with a chirp in his voice.
"Thought you'd be out like a light after last night."
"Yeah, me too,"
you murmured, wincing while you made yourself comfortable on the couch.
Guess I'm getting used to this kind of life again, huh?
Don't get too used to it. I'd prefer less jobs from the commission.
The sound of breakfast being plated caught your ear before you noticed Hawks, the former winged hero, making his way to you, handing you a plate of simple bacon and eggs before he made himself comfortable on the couch. He happily dove straight into his food, while you blankly stared at it, merely prodding it with your fork for a while.
"So the mission was a success on Nabu Island?"
commented Hawks through mouthfuls of his breakfast.
"The commission sends their thanks. Weeks later."
Oh, yeah. Saw the paper and the news.
You replied half-heartedly.
Figured we would hear from them much later about that.
"Good thing you suggested double-teaming that mission. They say they have someone under surveillance at the commission for further interrogation about the dragon menace. Apparently."
You hummed dryly in reply. Hawks peeked at you from his plate, noticing that you hadn't eaten not an ounce of food from yours, still prodding at it mindlessly.
"Afraid?"
he asked softly.
What?
You gazed up at the man, realizing what he was paying attention to on your lap.
No, sorry. It smells good. I'm not worried about your cooking.
"Then what is it?" "It's a lovely morning. The snow has come along, and well, it's Christmas."
That's right. It was Christmas morning. Another holiday going by in captivity, in a way, for both Hawks and yourself.
It's just last night.
You motioned while you slowly made your way through breakfast.
I didn't fulfill the job. I choked, and I got you involved. I could have compromised you. I almost did. And your wings,
"Hey, Dove. Look at me,"
piped Hawks while his hand gently held your chin to catch his eye.
"I know, it's hard. It has been for a while, hasn't it? The close calls, the risks. But that's why I still have a piece of me. Right here.
His hand made his way to your neck, playing with the chain that held one small covert red feather.
Remember what I said before I left that day.
You pulled a frown, but felt a nostalgic bittersweet feeling swell inside your chest. The war crippled Hawks in more ways than one.
You always feel my heart.
You recalled, your frown upturning slightly.
I thought that was cheesy, to be honest.
I'll always know where you are. And besides, your track record before your office job is impressive.
You chuckled slightly at the remark before you turned to your breakfast and began eating once more.
Don't know how many times I'm going to say it, Dove.
Continued Hawks.
Decorated defense soldier and tactician, master at close quarters combat, and you can think on your toes in a situation. I sure know how to pick 'em.
Stop now, you're making me blush.
You interrupted with a smile.
I can only do so much, especially because of,
You eyed the scar on his face, reaching out to hold it once more in the palm of your hands, caressing its rough surface gently with your thumb.
If only I could help you.
You uttered.
You suffered enough.
The gentle touch of his fingers met yours while he pulled your hand away, keeping them in his warm hands.
Dove, this is what I am now.
He reassured.
Doctors did say that there's a slight chance.
I've had the numbers and plays in my head, and I know what chances you have.
Not everything is a number.
He interrupted.
I've never held faith as much as I do now, and that's saying a lot. But everything last night is not your responsibility. You're my responsibility. Whatever this whole potential talk is, I'm going to protect you. That was my job, and it's my only job now. My only regret is that you're being put out there when you shouldn't be.
His words stayed with you for a moment. True, the Commission had decided to utilize your talents, quirk and otherwise, to aid in a few missions regarding yourself and a few consultations for others. Every time you were asked of any mission requests, they played like chess in your head. What moves to make, best probable outcomes, most potential and plausible ones, play by play. You were more active outside of this, almost as if you had taken Hawks' job away from him, despite him still overseeing your actions. Your eyes were downcast at your half-eaten meal before something tickled your nose, the end of the red feather playfully brushing against your skin while you couldn't contain the smile on your face.
You see? That's the smile I wanted to see.
Cooed Hawks.
All right, I get your point.
You jested while the feather rested back on its chain again.
You still do have your quirk.
I'm still here.
You smiled up at him while he grinned lazily at you, noticing his eyes peering upwards towards the ceiling.
Oh, looky here.
He cooed.
What a surprise.
You followed his gaze to sigh inwardly, finding a piece of mistletoe, or rather a whole garland of them, hanging by his rooftop, haphazardly stuck there by some tape. You turned to him with a wry smile, coyly eyeing him about his approach, and wondering how he had ever had the time to put something up on his ceiling.
What's the matter? Looks like it's mistletoe.
He continued.
I know what mistletoe is.
You confirmed with a cheeky smile.
Perfect. So, Would you mind kissing the cook on this fine Christmas morning?
Hawks pointed at his cheek, laying in wait for your reply. You sighed inwardly at his not-so-subtle approach before you leaned in to peck him on the cheek. Little did you know he turned his head at the last minute, grabbing hold of your lips instead.
Keigo!
You cried out to meet his cheeky grin.
Been a while since you've called me by my name,
he stated.
I like that.
His hand reached out to your cheek before he leaned in for another, deeper than the last. His warmth melted inside you while he slowly moved his plate and yours onto the coffee table, gently pushing you down onto the couch with him laying atop you. His weight pressed you down while you felt yourself sink into the couch, his hands grabbing a hold of you with a gentle touch. His kiss, however, contradicted this. It almost ravaged you, feeling his teeth graze against your lips while the weight of him pressed against the dull pains of your bruises from the night before. You exhaled a yelp from his touch, immediately ceasing his passionate drive.
I'm sorry.
He breathed.
I've always wanted to do this. Every Christmas. Since you've been here with me.
He brushed his fingers across your cheeks, gently kissing the small bruise that appeared on your temple.
Funny that I decided mistletoe was the way to do it.
You stared up at him, his eyes almost pleading, yet smiling back at you. Your cheeks ran hot and your heart was in a flutter.
I love you, Dove.
He whispered.
It's against all protocol, but I've grown to love you. I could feel your heart beside me.
That only made your heart swell.
Thank you, Keigo.
You whispered in his ear.
Can we stay like this for a while?
His hot breath washed against your neck while he chuckled happily, holding you tighter in his arms while he shifted on the couch, making himself comfortable on your chest. He felt your breath and your heart thrum against his ears, holding you close, content in your body's frame against his large torso. You hugged into him yourself, your hands trailing down his bare back, gently gliding over the scars that once were his wings. It saddened you upon your touch. You wished there was a way to give back the one thing he cherished the most. He had given you the lowdown of his recovery. A very slim chance of his wings ever growing back, yet the torment, pain, and post-traumatic stress that he faces daily pained you more so. You wanted nothing more than to give him the ability to fly again. The ability to be free. You wished for a miracle. But a Christmas miracle was hard to come by.
Merry Christmas, Dove,
whispered Hawks with a content smile.
May our days bring good tidings from here on out.
Good tidings indeed. Merry Christmas, Keigo. I love you.
Thank you for tuning in to another fan fiction reading. If you enjoy what I do or would just prefer to fall asleep to my voice, please like this video and also please subscribe to my channel. I will be providing as much content as possible, so be sure to keep an ear out for any new content along the way. Thank you for visiting. I hope to hear back from you next we meet.